Around 95% of major software implementations start in the worst possible way. What actually happens? Management sits down and starts imagining their dream process. Not how things actually work, but how they wish things worked in some perfect world where unicorns would run around and poop rainbows. You might have been in this situation. You try to implement a program in your company, whether it's a CRM system for tracking deals and clients or tool for managing, say, tasks, for example. You encounter the problem, you push through, and finally, you found an amazing solution that solves a major issue in your company. Yet somehow, nobody seems to care. Or maybe you went all out, hired professional consultants, developed complex software, and started implementing it only to meet significant resistance from your employees. Now, nobody wants to use it because they say it's complicated, confusing, and just an unnecessary bother.
It's afraid. It's afraid!
Today, I want to share a solution to this problem, an approach that addresses the issue when implemented correctly. It's a remarkably simple methodology that wasn't invented by me. It's been around for a very long time and is used by companies with the effort, brainpower, desire, and mental flexibility to apply it. Interestingly, this approach is also used by good teachers when educating young children. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jeff Tiley, and I am CRM consultant. I talk about automation and business technology. If you find this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button to not miss my future videos. Let's jump right in. You see, the issue with software is that it's not a physical device with tangible buttons and levers that produces visible results. Most software operates on soft processes, not physical processes, unless we're talking about manufacturing automation. And this is its biggest challenge. For software to work effectively and be embraced by users, it must align perfectly with the process it's designed to support. Consider this example. You run an e-commerce store shipping products by mail, for example. You have software that allows you to accept orders, print shipping labels, and send packages. People will use such software because without it, they can't access the recipient address, view the order, and most importantly, print the label. The software fits its purpose perfectly. It compels people to use it because it's more convenient to use it rather than not to use it. Now let's look at a different scenario. Imagine you work in sales and client calls saying, "I want to buy your product. I learned about it and would like you to send me an invoice." You open your digital CRM, you click Create New Client, and system prompts you with Next Step, schedule a meeting. But the client is already ready to buy. You are thinking, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Your software doesn't align with the actual process happening in your business life. The methodology I want to share today is specifically designed to solve this disconnect between reality and what the software does. What's our classic approach to implementing software, especially larger programs? I'm not talking about small tools that can be customized. I mean significant implementations like warehouse management systems or CRM systems for creating commercial proposals with, various configurations. Usually we sit down with a consultant and start describing our process as we envision it. By we, I mean management. A company leader sits down and says, "Look, our process works like this," and begins explaining step by step. First, a client comes to us, the client asks something, we'd like the process to look like this, we schedule a meeting, then we visit them, and so on. In essence, they're fantasizing, inventing some idealized process they've created in their own minds. This imagined process almost never matches reality. Yet, strangely enough, 95% of implementations begin exactly like this. Management comes in and starts fantasizing. These delusions snowball as they explain their so-called sales process, not the reality, but the fantasy they desperately cling to where everything magically falls into place. They explain all this and a massive list is formed. This list is called requirements. Then the consultant compiles this requirements list, sits down with their team like developers, architects, solution engineers, and they decide how to address all these tasks. And they come up with a solution. I witnessed an interesting story last year while working on a project where a company hired a consultant who then hired other consultants. So there we were, consultants meeting with another consultant, deciding how to launch software for the client. The client wasn't even involved in the process. The CRM system was a complete failure. And I don't even want to go into details of that project. Let's just move on. Oh, but before we continue, a big shout out to sponsor of today's video, my company Monthly. If you need help with CRM implementation or just need a pair of understanding ears, you know the game. Link in the description below. Back to the video. Now, I'm getting to the core of the approach. Just like every aspect of life, whether it's business, software development, or even child growth, progress happens gradually. It's an iterative, step-by-step process. In life, we call it evolution. Well, in software, we call it agile. Consider a child's development. A newborn is helpless and can't even hold their head up. After some time, they can support their head independently. Then they start turning over. Then they begin crawling, first on all fours, then on their knees, and then they start walking. Then they start walking faster, and then they start running. I know exactly when this transition happens. My son is 8 now, but I remember it like it was yesterday. When you put him down in one place, he stays there. Everything's fine. Then he starts walking, and you put him down in one place, turn around for a moment, and he's already trying to lick an electrical outlet. Learning process is inevitable. Children learn sequentially, taking small steps. And notice how children develop in bursts. If you have children, you know how kids develop. They do nothing for a while, and then suddenly they start walking. Then they walk slowly for a time, and then suddenly they start running. These developments happen in leaps. This exact pattern of development, the natural progression from simple to complex with occasional breakthrough moments, is precisely what makes Agile methodology so powerful in software implementation. Let's break down what Agile really means for the business. In this video, I won't get into terminology or explain the foundational principles of the methodology. You can just Google Agile Scrum if you want the technical details. The essence of Agile is an iterative approach, developing something in iterations, just like my examples about child's development, progressing from simple to complex. Since I'm CRM specialist, let me give you an example of how this should work in CRM implementation. Imagine you decide to implement a process for tracking your commercial proposals or quotes. Any normal person without experience would want to start by completely digitalizing their quotes, all products, all logic, all pricing, all discounts, everything. That's healthy, normal thinking. But here's how you should actually do this. Start with something super simple. Instead of implementing any quote functionality, add just these 3 fields to your CRM system. First, quote status, quote expiration date, and quote amount. Then create a report listing all quotes made within a specific time period, when they expire, and their statuses. Perhaps you notice that several quotes expired this week, and the sales manager knows to contact those clients. Now, see where I'm going with this. Start with something super simple, something basic. You could do this in Excel, but the point is digitalization, right? The goal is to eventually implement a more sophisticated system. But you need to start with something even simpler than Excel, yet in your chosen digital system. What are we doing here? We're teaching our managers to operate with reports. We are teaching our line staff, salespeople, or whoever handles the quotes, to use the system, to live in it. We're teaching them that this is our new reality. And if my manager will ask me about the content of the system, I would be forced to fill it in. At first, it's a bit of a stick approach. You won't immediately create a system that super helps people or is super convenient and cool. No, but gradually, new requests will emerge. You see, when employees, especially managers, start using reports, they will realize, hey, this thing is actually useful. Let's add products we offer in the quotes so we can understand which products are selling best right now, which products are trending, and which ones we are proposing most often. Next stage would be excellent. Beyond your 3 fields, you can now add line items, rows within the quote. This requires a big step forward. Just as a child makes a leap from crawling to walking, a huge jump, you will need to make a leap in development. You will need to implement a product catalog and modify quote module so you can add products. This means some development and customization of the system for your needs. Let me give you another example. Say you want to track customer support. You intuitively understand that you need to improve customer service somehow, or at least start measuring it. So you decide to implement a ticketing system. If previously you responded to emails and calls in chaotic, unstructured way, now each support request should be registered as a ticket or a case in Salesforce terminology. What's the point of a case? A client says, I have a problem with a product. What should I do? This is a request. We should record it. When they contacted us, who contacted us, and what they asked for. We solve the client's problem and note how we resolved it. We save the history. Now, don't complicate things. Don't try to create a super system with response time tracking or so-called SLAs, things that companies with no digital system experience love to implement right away. No, disable all the functionality and focus on something super simple. When implementing tickets, just track subject, who contacted us, when they contacted us, who's responsible, and status like new, in progress, and closed. That's it. Elementary. Something very, very simple. Only after running such a system for a month, 2 or 3, you should start complicating or enhancing it. And suddenly, it becomes clear that you don't need a big project with a consulting company or a major customization. You need something super small and super simple. Again, simple is a continuous word. Everyone understands it differently. When I say simple, I mean something truly primitive. What seems simple to you might actually be very complex. That's why you need primitive. While you figure out how a digital system works, you need time. Not all companies can do this quickly. Not everyone can run fast right away. This is Agile. Instead of deciding to build a massive system that will take a year to develop, you make decisions based on what you know for certain right now. You commit to starting with just those essential elements, typically with just 3 to 4 fields in your system. I'm not exaggerating here. This minimal approach is exactly what many companies need to begin with. You make this focused decision and stick to it, resisting the temptation to overcomplicate things from the very beginning. Think of it like learning a new language. You don't begin by memorizing every grammatical rule and, exceptions. You start with hello, thank you, and where's the bathroom? Those basics, they give you foundation that you can build upon. After some time, a week, 2 or a month, but not prolonged period like a year, but foreseeable future, you gain additional information and can make a decision. You might say, no, that decision wasn't successful, let's do it differently. You see, the cost of mistake is reduced. You can afford to make mistakes. You can find the process that will be effective for you through trial and error because the cost of error is small. If you make a mistake at the design stage, and you will 100% make mistakes when designing complex systems, the cost of that error is colossal.
You should have gone for the head.
And no one will ever admit to this mistake. Go ask 8 out of 10 CRM managers in large companies and they will tell you their CRM system is a huge success. Go ask their consultants, of course in a private conversation, and 8 out of 10 will say it's a complete failure, a mess, confusion, and a complete chaos. Companies think that if they invest a huge amount of money in a short period of time into their IT system, it will somehow develop properly. Not always. Not all products require large investments. They often require high involvement. On that note, thanks for watching. Don't forget to support my channel with your like and hit that subscribe button to not miss my next videos. Oh, and if you want to hire me, my company website is in the description below. See you next time. Peace.